Roaches. Dear diary, did anyone recognize that I'm actually writing a diary here based upon real life? Yes, a diary. Having roaches for the very first time. Have you yourself ever experienced roaches and what they bring? Hold on, let me turn this TV down right quick. Life with roaches. For the very first time, if you think I'm lying about roaches, ask New York. All across New York. New York City. Ask anybody in New York about this thing called roaches. Or even rats. Same thing in a sense. Because once they fill a space, a house is no longer a home, which means they run you out of the place. That's what I'm trying to say. Experiences? No, one experience. See, where I came from years and years back, I lived in the ghetto of ghettos. Matter of fact, I lived in many different ghettos or whatnot. Experienced different ghettos. And yet, with me living in the projects, which is kind of the most lowest form of ghetto you could ever live in, because remember, projects, it's a project building you're sharing with other people, so you're a lot of times surrounded with filth and waste, right? That's why I said that. I lived there with my grandmother or whatnot, and we had never had roaches because my granny was obsessed. She was like OCD. So everything had to be in its place. Everything, I would let her tell you herself how OCD she was. Everything had to be put in its place. Everything had to be cleaned up. You could have no stinky feet, no stinky breath, no stinky nothing. If she could, she would actually give you a bath and bleach. And her herself, even to this day, she uses about a cat full of bleach in her bath water. No joke, because her being from Mississippi, that's something that they learn growing up. So my granny was no joke. But yeah, we had never had roaches. And even when I lived with mom in our old house, we had never experienced roaches. Which is weird because mom, she's the type person, she'll cook something and she'll leave it on the counter, not all night, but you know how you cook stuff, you let it get cool, whatnot. But then a few hours go by and then you say, okay, I'm going to get up. After watching TV, I'm going to get up and put this stuff in the refrigerator. She used to leave stuff on the counter, and yet we never got roaches. Like even with my dog. I had a dog that was supposed to turn 16 May 2016. He was supposed to turn 16, but we had to put him to sleep because he had bad arthritis or whatnot. And even he never had fleas. See what I'm saying? My dog, I had him since he was 4 weeks old. I got him too soon because he was born with seizures and we had to put him on pills and special food. But this dog had lived to almost be 16 years old and not once had he ever had fleas. So serious, no lie. So, since I never had roaches in the projects, and I never had roaches in our house that we had for years on end, I had never really experienced roaches except for one family member when I used to go over their house or whatnot and play. They had rats, mice, all type of stuff. And it wasn't because they wasn't clean. Matter of fact, they was one of the cleanest people in the family as well. But it was the environment of where they lived at. They lived, first of all, where they lived at, it was an alley right behind their house. And not only that, some of that area was like wooded area. And so when you got wooded area, open area like that, that's where rats and mice seem to roam. Not only them, squirrels. This person had squirrels in their house. Squirrels, yes, squirrels used to get in their house and literally be clawing on the clawing on the wall. You can hear them. They would come up somehow in the bottom of the house and be clawing on the wall. Very very interesting experience. So they had roaches, they had rats, they had mice based upon the area where they lived at. When I would see roaches in their house, that was that was something like you would see on a cartoon movie. You got what I'm saying? See, to open a refrigerator door, not here in my environment, but there. To open a refrigerator, that was my first time ever really seeing roaches. I mean, sitting amongst them like that. To open a refrigerator door and see a roach actually climbing around in the refrigerator. I had never seen nothing like that. For me, that was like a science project. Just standing there and observing, like, how do roaches get in the refrigerator? How does roaches climb in the freezer and die? Like, I never seen anything like that. Some stuff in life you remember, it's embedded in your mind and your memory. And so that's that type of experience. See, when you go over somebody's house and they got them, that's a different experience than when you actually live with them. See, I can tell this story because it's an old lady that lived up underneath us. Like, we keep moving around, right? This is gonna be the best experience because on top of me telling this story, I actually want an RV. That's what I'm trying to say. So this experience in itself is a learning experience of how to deal with these bugs. Because when you get an RV and you boondock all over the U.S., you're dealing with all type of bugs. Not only that, you're dealing with all type of whatever wild animals. But yeah, being in this apartment, it's a very nice apartment. I'm whispering because I'm sure the old lady downstairs can hear me. This apartment that I'm in right now, the old lady has roaches. And not just 1 million of them. So they gonna have to come bomb or come spray because that's what this story is about, was the simple fact of seeing them and not knowing where they're coming from. They literally came up the drain. Is all I'm saying. The roaches came up the drain, and that was the very first time. See, I had to call management to ask them what was going on, because see, that type of stuff will freak you out if you never lived amongst it and experienced it. Anytime you see a roach come up through the drain, I did not know that, through the drain. Anytime it come up through the drain or the bathtub drain, that's a problem. That's a problem that it has to be taken care of. That right there has to be taken care of, because see, I don't want to be asleep, and while I'm asleep, one come roam and go down my mouth and my throat, and I be walking out in public the next day wondering, what's that sensation I just ate? So why I feel like my stomach is crawling and want more food? What is the problem? Stuff like that I don't like. Like, that's not to say, when I put this out here, that's not to say that a person is nasty. No, it's not. Because see, this old woman, she can barely move around. Her son has to help take care of her. See, anywhere you move, it could be the most nicest environment, and yet you never know who you're sharing space with. Do you feel what I'm saying? You never know. You can move anywhere. You could be in $1,000, $1,200 apartment, $2,000, and never know who you're sharing a space with. Because I say that because this woman, she's clean, right? But the thing is, she's old, so she can't get up bodily to be moving stuff around, and yet her kitchen is clean, and her bathroom is clean, and her bedroom is clean, because I've seen it. But the thing is, this is the thing, when you collect a lot of junk, that's be the thing that draw them to you. And see, how I found this out, not only did I Google it, I had to call my grandmother on the phone, because even though she never experienced them, she too had neighbors supposedly that had them. My granny told me that she actually had seen one, and I never seen one in her place of living, because remember, I lived with her. She said she seen one when we was a kid, and come to find out the neighbor next door had them or whatnot. And so there you go, the lady had a whole bunch of junk in her house. That's what my granny was saying. Supposedly granny was saying that they're attracted to paper and they're attracted to junk. So if you got a whole bunch of junk, you live in an apartment, you live in an apartment, and say you don't have rent space to put all that junk, then what the roaches do, they just find you and they congregate and hide within that junk. And I say this because when we first moved in here, I didn't know, but then again I did knew something was wrong, because this container, not this same container. Matter of fact, I need to take my vitamins. This is my vitamins. I had a container just like this. Same size a little bit, but it was kind of like long. So it was more like that. And so my mom, she was getting ready to leave to go to Africa, right? And so when she goes, whatever's in the suitcase gets taken out. Not of her old dirty clothes, but sometimes mom, she ended up using her suitcase for other stuff in her room, like shoes and stuff like that. And so she pulled the suitcase from under the bed, and when she pulled the suitcase from under the bed, it was a roach inside that suitcase that was about this big. I have never in life seen nothing that in life. I was told that those type of roaches come from places like Florida. What's interesting about that is I had actually, we had a neighbor who was supposedly moving out when we was moving in, and they was from Florida. See, that's what I'm saying. Apartment life, because to never live in an apartment before, although we lived in the projects, that's kind of the same, but kind of different. It is kind of the same though. But how the units, see, projects could be different from apartments, because I don't know, because projects, they be hard, made out of that real hard brick. So it's like you're sharing a space with people, but not completely, because there's no holes in the wall for y'all to share certain whatever, like heating units. How this heating unit is, we got holes in the wall that goes into the next wall. That's how roaches come find you. And I did not know that until moving out of the house and actually living here. Yes, roaches. It's an experience I'm trying to deal with right now, because that's something so new. In life, you're gonna have all type of interesting things, no matter what you try to do to prevent those type of things. And oh, mom, she be really pissed. When I say pissed, because see, if you have an old lady and she can't move all that junk around, her house is flooded with junk. So if she can't move it around, and the people come, this is not, when I speak of the experience, this is not the first time. Today is not the first time. This has had been many a times. Did I not say that in the opening? I didn't even present it open. So mom could get on this camera herself and tell you how actually pissed that she has been to walk up in here and be like, what's that on the counter? What is that on the counter? That type of thing. It happens. Yes, it does happen. See, when I had my apartment before this apartment, we had these little bugs. I'm gonna have to think, but they were like outside bugs. And that was one of the reasons why I moved, is because I didn't want to deal with that. That's a headache. They're little critters that's drawn to water. And not only that, they would like jump and hop and all this other stuff. And then when you got dogs and you taking them out to go pee, they be all up on the dogs. I didn't like that. So that's the reason why I moved. And so mom was like, you know what? We should get an apartment together, because with her constantly leaving and all this other stuff, some stuff she forget to pay bill wise or whatever, I have to go handle it. So yeah, not only that, with her always gone, it's like my space once again. It's like I'm back in my house, or in my space once again, my own personal space, this whole apartment. So this experience of roaches, like, mom has been heated because when we first moved in, they was in here. And see, we didn't even know until right before we moved all the furniture in. See, because we ain't even really got a lot of furniture. That's why I told her we got to get rid of everything if we're going to keep moving like this. My uncle had came over here, both of them. They came over here in the middle of the center of the living room, and they was talking to mom, and her bedroom door was closed behind her. She was standing like this, and the door was right behind her. And as they was facing her talking, a roach was crawling up the door. And they didn't want to say nothing because, see, to tell my mom something like that is to really piss her off. It's to really piss my mom, get pissed off over all type of stuff. Like, stuff like that really piss her off, because for her not to be used to stuff is to just, she'll go off screaming and yelling. It probably call and cuss out management in biblical terms. But yes, this roach was literally climbing up the door behind her as she was talking, and my uncle then was just standing there. And then they finally told her it's the roach on the door. She lost it. She did. She lost her mind. They've been coming, spraying and everything. And yet the reason why they're not completely leaving is because who's living downstairs? See, they actually, management, they actually go spray her too. But when they come spray us, we have to put all our stuff in the middle of the floor. That's one of the reasons why I told mom when we moved from our house, let's get rid of a lot of our stuff, because see, when we move, we don't know what we walking into. I felt that in intuition. Get rid of a lot of the stuff you have in your house, because see, if you're gonna keep moving just to experience different places of living, you don't want to walk into a situation and have a whole bunch of stuff on your hands. So with intuition making me feel that when they came and sprayed us a few times, each time we had to take all of our stuff, sit it in the middle of the floor in every single room. The kitchen, the bathroom, the living room, dining room, in which I'm in right now, as well as her bedroom. All things had to be in the center of each room, and everything had to be covered up. So that way when the man sprayed, nothing would get damaged. That in itself was an experience, because in my studio room, notice every time I'm on video, I'm never in my studio room because of the turtle tank. I said that in my other video. It's too loud. The microphone picks it up. But I have things in that studio room that I got 3 laptops. So when you got them set up like that, not only that, there's speakers with it and all the devices that go with it. Microphones and interfaces. Everything is in pianos. I got 3 musical keyboards, plus a small musical keyboard. When you got that stuff like that and it's set up all neatly, you don't want to be moving that stuff back and forth, because even in me moving my 3 MacBooks like that, you can damage it. And not only that, I'm saying the wires with the ports. For me to constantly see, once something is plugged in, I leave it plugged in. I don't constantly unplug and be plugging stuff back just so somebody can come constantly spray stuff. Not only that, that spray could damage something. That spray that they're using to kill these roaches or these bugs or whatever they are, that can really damage something. And my one laptop is an actual $3,000 laptop. I just recently purchased it or whatnot. So I don't want my stuff damaged in an environment. So more likely we'll be moving again, because I can't deal with that. See, because what roaches do, I didn't know. They go hide, right? But I don't want them hiding, because like I said, I got 3 music pianos, or 3 music electrical keyboards, which are in fact pianos, but they're just electric. I don't want them going down between the keys and hiding and making babies and stuff. That damages stuff like that. And I don't want them climbing in between the keys and my keyboard on my Macs. I don't want that. So once again, that's not to say that a person is filthy. I can take the fact of this person is old. They're old. But they need to literally get rid of a lot of their stuff. Because is posing issues. See, to have roaches is to actually lead to an infestation. That's what that leads to. And that's why Mom was on the phone screaming with management. Yes, she was. They kept coming out here and we had to keep moving that junk, moving our own junk so that they could spray. And yet, once again, it's just, that can lead to a mess. It could get so carried away that those roaches not only move where we at, those roaches will move next door because we upstairs next door, and then it'll move next door with her, and then downstairs it'll move next door to where the old lady is, and it'll also move on the right side of where she's at. Roaches will just move around till they infestate everything. Big infestation. So, first time experience with roaches. Yeah, because that roach that I saw that I was talking about in that container, I forgot what I was saying. When I said that roach was that big, no lie. I had never in life, once again, I never in life seen a roach that big. That mean, if a roach is that big, it makes you question what was him or her feeding on. I mean, were they chewing on the couch and eating the couch when nobody was around? Who knows? In a place like New York City, people, conversation about that, when you get to talking, they be like, man, compared to where you at, that don't compare with New York City, because they roaches and rats and all that other stuff, they come for you. And yes, they do. Yes, they do. You will see rats and stuff like that chase you off the train. You will see rats chase you while you waiting for a train in the subway. Yes, those type of things do actually happen. Firsthand, the reality is real. But yes, the reason why I feel like God or the universe might have actually be having us. Oh, did I tell the story about me when we lived in our house and there was a mouse that had came? Because where we lived at, if you would like leave out our house, drive down the block and go straight up, all that area over there was nothing but highway and field area, open fielded area. And you know what happens, because I seen a fox. One time in the middle of the night, I was coming home, and one guy that I know, he was on his way home. I seen a fox and he seen a fox. This is what happened when you live in environments where it's just all open land and area. Them wild animals, we come to find out that when you got these corporations that take over that area of fields and stuff, them wild animals have nowhere to go. And what they do, what they'll do is they'll start to come into the city. Because see, that highway was like in the area of right where the field was at, but then on the other side of the highway was more field. And then it was just field that surrounded our housing place. So if you got a field like that just all around you, the corporations, they built these buildings for their work. And they're taking away natural habitat, which belongs to the animals. And so the animals start to come into the city because they don't have nowhere to go. And so where we lived at, although it was surrounded by fields and it wasn't like downtown city, we were still considered the city because the streets and all that other stuff is not country road. So the wild animals were running into the city, coming where we were. And so when I saw this mouse, I kind of like automatically put two and two together, even though I wasn't thinking, because he was in my house and I couldn't think of why he was in my house. I'm gonna tell that in another video about the mouse. But yes, wild animals coming into the city. Don't take away their natural habitat, because then they become homeless. They have to find a home. But what was I saying before that? I got lost. I did get lost. This is what happened when you talk too much on camera. So, that mouse. Yeah, I want to make a different video about that. I don't want to put it on this video. It's going to make it too long. But yeah, that mouse came and crept up. I could not sleep. That's all I can say about that. When that mouse came into our house, and then on the other video, I'm gonna explain the situation of how he actually got in the house and how I didn't even know he was by my foot. Baby mouse, he was scared of me. And my granny and them, they was on their way to Virginia. My granny and my mom was on their way to Virginia. They was laughing in the phone when I called. Like, why are you screaming? You scared that mouse. He's scared of you. And everybody on Facebook was saying the same thing. That mouse was scared of you. And yet, you was scared of him. Yes, I was. He was really small. He was cute. I can say it now. It's funny now. He was really cute. But back then, he wasn't cute. I did not sleep. I didn't sleep for like 2 days straight. Because I'm like, look, that's too much. I have 2 dogs. And people will say, how are you scared of mice and rats when you got 2 dogs? And not only that, I got a Shih Tzu and a Yorkie. Not only that, I had a baby, which was my dog, that was going to live to 16. He was a big, huge German Shepherd, almost the size of a horse. His parents was the size of a horse. People say, how could you be scared of animals like a rat and a mouse when you had big animals like you just spoke of? Because that's different. It's different when you own a pet. Because first of all, you got control of that pet. And not only that, you're used to his ways. That's different than an unwelcome species walking up on you and say, look, I'm here. Hello. That's different. That is so completely different. Listen to me when I'm saying this. It's different to own a dog and you know his actual predictable ways than it is to wake up in the morning and a roach is like, hi, I am walking with you, so walk with me. Let's take a walk together. Roach and human, let's be one. That's different. That is so completely different, because what I didn't even know about that with roaches, I didn't know that they move as fast as they move. See, that was the thing when we first moved in here. It lets you know what my experience with them have been, because when we first moved in this apartment, Mom was screaming. We hadn't even had no furniture in here yet. Mom was screaming about how she seen some, right, in the cabinet at the bottom. She seen some. They was dead at the bottom of the cabinet. So she was trying to figure out if management had just killed them and left them there. The problem has existed since we live here, which is why we're going to be moving this year. But once again, rewinding the tape, I did not know that roaches run. Despite me mentioning that I seen some in my family member's house when I was a kid, when I used to go over there and play ball and stuff and hang out. When they was at this relative's house, I never seen them run like that. I never seen them run. I can't remember seeing any roaches run. And yet when I seen them in here, they were running. And I didn't know, you got what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. When you don't know what something is, and it's right in front of your face and it's running, you're like, first of all, what's that? Because if I go back in memory in our house, when it came to bugs, we never had roaches, but we had centipedes. You ever seen a centipede? A centipede got 50 million legs, and they're completely attracted to water. And sometimes they can get real big. I've seen one like this. They would come up under our front door. Sometimes they would be in the bathtub. So in my mind, a centipede, and not only that, centipedes bite. So yes, I can't say I've had experiences, but not with roaches. I had experiences with the centipede. And yet you come to get to know them because you're like, okay, they bite. Watch out. Let me kill him right now. We got to kill him. So when I seen these roaches right here in this apartment, and I would walk up on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, I was wondering, why are they running? Like, first of all, what is it? And why is it running? Because see, roaches a lot of times come out at night, but these was out in the daytime. And somebody told me that. The fact that they're night owls like me. So maybe I'm one, I don't know. Maybe I'm a roach and not know. So they would come out in the daytime, and supposedly they're supposed to come out at night. So when I would see them, I'll like walk up on it and it will be running, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what is that? That must be a centipede. That's what was in my mind. But I was thinking to myself, that can't be a centipede, because usually centipedes have 50 million legs. So why is that bug or whatever it is running the way that it run? So what I did was I got on Google to make sure that I was seeing what I was seeing was an actual roach. That's what I'm trying to say. It's mass confusion in that, because roaches come in all different sizes. And I didn't know that. They come real tiny baby ones, and their little things be going like this on their head. They come in baby sizes, they come in medium sizes, they come in big sizes, they come in the real huge sizes. All this stuff I did not know, because that one that walked on the door, he would have been considered medium sized but grown. It just, when you see them at different times, you just, I don't know. When something is in front of my face and it dart away as fast as them different roaches was darting, I really couldn't put two and two together that, you know what, that was a roach that just that was a roach that just ran past me, because he ran so fast. You're watching something that just ran 1,000,000 miles an hour with probably no gas in the tank. This roach just ran. A few of them just ran, and you're like, well, something just ran past me, whatever it was. Yeah, they run. They run like they running for the Olympics or something. And yet ain't nothing on their back. They ain't carrying no torch. They ain't carrying nothing. They just running. They experiencing life with roaches. But once again, did I just repeat this? I think this experience, because like I said before, I've always wanted a RV just as bad as my mom wanted one. I'll make a video about the RV. Me and my mom really didn't get along years back in my childhood, teenage years, for various reasons. So what you do, you mend that relationship before people die or whatever happens. You mend that, so that's why we in the same apartment right now. That's why I considered the RV with her. This roach experience is a good experience for her as well, because see, mom going all the way over in Africa, she see all type of stuff. Matter of fact, she's actually lived in places over there for months where it's been giraffes. Yes, she's actually lived in the wild for a few months while she was over there in Kenya and in South Africa, but I'm speaking of Kenya for right now, where a giraffe would walk up to her window, and the giraffe, because her window will be wide open, the giraffe will walk up to my mom's window and put his head in the window. Ain't that interesting? In Africa. Elephants, she could see all type of elephants walking right in her backyard, because that was where she chose to stay. I gotta grab the name of that place. I'm gonna have to grab the name of the place or put a picture up or something like that as a thumbnail. But yeah, so if she's going to get an RV, all this type of stuff she will have to be used to and get used to, because it ain't nothing like mom driving down, going to Texas, or I don't know, going somewhere, Idaho, Nebraska, and she's driving this big old RV, and then she turn around and see a roach on the dashboard. That'll completely flip her out. If not only flip her out, flip over the whole RV. So I think every experience is for a reason. But it would be nice, it really would be nice to get an RV, right? And with the camera that I got, just go state to state and take a whole bunch of footage and photographs of every single state we go to, and upload them in various different hundreds of videos on YouTube. That would be so cool. Wouldn't that be cool if we grab one of them maps from the rest stops? Cause see, mom, she constantly travel. That's all she does is travel. which is the reason for getting an RV. She has maps and everything, but I like those real big old maps you pick up at the rest stop. I'm trying to think if I seen some at Walmart. I think I did. They real huge and they're in plastic because that's how big they are. They like this big. And so when you open it, it covers your whole face. It looks like an actual like windshield cover. That's how big the maps are. So we get a map like that, right? And you go, we got 50 states here in America, right? Then you got Hawaii. But if you was to cross every inch, not every inch of America, but I'm saying state to state, if you was to just travel in an RV as a full-time RV-er, yes, put the ER on the end. If you're a full-time RVer and you go through all 50 states and you document that on the camera and have pictures, and for each state you make a YouTube video, that would be so cool. I could actually do that. That's something actually I want to do. Because see, to travel like that, especially to go to a place like Arizona, is to actually stop out there in the middle of the desert where it's nothing and boondock. And not only boondock, have a telescope. I know in the future one day that's coming because I seen it. I seen that. I was wide awake and I seen us actually in the middle of Arizona. Out in the middle of, out in Arizona, basically, in the desert. And nobody was out there but us. And we had this big old RV and it was daytime out. And then it flipped into nighttime and I had a big old telescope looking at the stars and stuff. I want to do that. I want to do that before I die, before I croak over or fall into the toilet dead. I want to do something like that because that's like full living. That's full life. And I ain't talking about going to no Area 54. You ever heard of Area 54? That supposedly is military owned, where they experiment and drop bombs and all that other stuff out the plane so that they can use that for war or whatever they use it for. Area 54, they do a lot of testing and experiments. The military does. I've seen information documented in relation to Area 54. You got people that was living out in that area. It's all government owned, and the government was trying to buy up those houses and human habitat over in that area so that they can continue to test and all that other stuff. See, when it comes to stuff like Area 54, my opinion is I'm with that type of stuff and I'm also against that type of stuff. I am. Why lie? Area 54. I'm with it because you never know who's going to try to strike us at war. And to not know who is going to try to strike us at war is to be prepared for it when it comes and it greets you at the doorstep. You got to be prepared for that type of stuff. You never know, because see, in the area of American trade and all that other type of stuff, see, some of this war and all this other stuff be because of deals gone wrong, or people not keeping their word, or stuff in relation to history, miscommunications and disagreements from history, historical stuff that got passed on until today. There's wars in that. And so America, the government knows that they have to be sharp and on their toes for when stuff like that strike. Now I'm against it because my father, who was old enough to be my grandfather, I still have yet to make a video about his life. He served in Vietnam War, and he was exposed to Agent Orange. And so to be exposed to Agent Orange is to carry it down to your future generations, which was the point of Agent Orange in the first place, is to go over to Vietnam and kill off all the future generations. So in relation to the chemical getting in your body, that's where I'm against it, because any men that's over there serving the government in Area 54, whatever the government is testing and dropping bombs in, them grown men, their body is being exposed to that chemical. And when they go home and they get their wife pregnant, that chemical is not only within them, it's being passed down through their DNA to their future generations. They know it, and then again, they don't know it. They know it in the area of the government has told them that that is what happens, but they don't know the other side, that 2 generations from now, their great-grandchild or whoever, grandchild, great-grandchild, could be born with cancer. That's where I'm against stuff like that. When I make it usually when I speak on certain things, people be like, well, what side are you on? I'm not on any side, because I like to look at everything as a Rubik's Cube, where I present all sides. There's a pro and there's a con to everything, even in the area of war. You fight something so that you're not completely killed away, but at the same time, the servicemen that's helping you fight, they're putting their body at a damage, at a loss, as well as their future generations, because that chemical will eat you up. I got issues right now I don't even speak of in relation to Agent Orange being passed down. I'm the only child that has that from my father, because my older brothers, they weren't exposed to that because they were born way before me. My older brothers was born right before my father chose to go into the military, I think, if I can remember, because I don't see them that often. But I try not to, when I make an opinion, I voice an opinion about stuff, I try not to stand on either side. I try to present what it is for what it is. There's 2 sides. There's 2 sides, but then again, if you look at something from the perspective of a Rubik's Cube, there's actually 6 sides. That's that top, that bottom, that side, that back, and that front. It's seeing everything. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end this video, but yeah, I had to say the thing about the roaches, because Mom is in Africa right now, and yet before she left, we didn't see any. We did not see any. And so if I text her right now, that's just going to mess up her whole, because she over there for another 2 months. That's going to mess up her whole everything of her enjoying her vacation and trip over there. It's going to mess it up, because Mom don't like roaches. She don't like them. And so the old lady downstairs, she, not that she feels shame in having them, but she try to let me know that she has them, and yet I always knew that after this situation presented itself. She tries to let me know that there's more of them down there, because the other night she said to me, she said, have you guys been seeing any bugs? And I was like, wait a minute, don't tell me she got more. Don't tell me there's more babies being made, because this is really going to pose a problem. I think by the time Mom get back, which is like what, May? Somewhere around mid-May. When Mom get back, all of our stuff might be out on the curb, because Mom is just like, you know what, it's time to go. Our lease is ending this year. I already know. But I spoke about that, didn't I, when I said about Atlanta, Georgia? About us moving, and I couldn't figure out what to do, because I'm in question of to get an RV and just live in the RV and travel everywhere, as well as go down to Georgia to get the RV, or to just move to Atlanta, Georgia. That's the question, because see, life always presents you with options. Never feel that you limited in what is today, because there's all type of options you can pick and choose from. So, hey, hello. Stop. No. I'm ending this roach video. I can't think of anything else that I need to be saying. Can you? Have you had roaches before? I've asked that before. What was your experience with having roaches? Got any photos you want to show of the roaches you've seen? I should do that. You know what? I should do that. If I see, because with my camera, the next time I see a roach, I should take a photograph and use it as a thumbnail on one of the next upcoming videos, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Or maybe even record him running. Cause that's interesting to watch something. That's what I was saying when I said the opening of, they put you out your space. See, roaches are the type of creatures, they take over. Just like rats, they put you out your own environment. Because see, you gotta be a heck of a, you gotta think, you really think about this. For me to be a little insect or whatever they're called, roaches, for me to be of something or feel that I'm of something of dominance or domineering appeal is to just roam through freely through other people's houses. Like, who does that? Roaches and rats do that type of thing. Roaches more than anything. How you gonna just roam through somebody else's house like you own the spot? Roaches be roaming free in people's houses. I'm saying all over the place. New York, California, wherever that is congested with people. Detroit, roaches roam like they're paying bills. That's what I'm trying to get to. You got all type of roaches out here of all kinds that they just walk amongst you like they're paying something. How are you a roach coming from somewhere else saying, look, I'm here. I'm going to go in your cabin and feed myself for the day, and yet I have not paid one thing. I am going to sit nice and comfortably. I'm saying this is what the roach does and do. These are what roaches do. Roaches invite themselves in your house to the fact they say, I am going to sit on your sofa or your love seat, and I'm going to pick up this remote control, and I am going to turn on The Simpsons and call it a day. One of y'all go get me a drink. He's talking to his other fellow siblings, which are also roaches. One of y'all go get me some bread so I can use it as a meal and a pillow. And go get me some Coke 45 or something. Go get me some alcohol, some wine. Let's pull this up so we can chill back and relax in somebody else's house. That's what roaches do. That is so not cool. That is, if you ask me, that's why I be getting like so pissed off. And I see why mom be getting pissed off. Because for a roach to take it upon themselves, these roaches are of all kinds. And I'm sure they got names. And yet you don't even know their name because they greet you sometimes, and yet they never introduce themselves. They just introduce themselves by just crawling on a counter and running past. That's disrespectful. You cannot tell me that's not disrespectful for a roach to just run past you in your house. Not pay one bill. They didn't say, you know what? The cable bill is due. I'm saying the roach. The roach didn't say, you know what? The cable bill is due. And matter of fact, it's behind because such and such has been working so hard. So me being the roach that I am, I'll take it upon myself and actually help pay this bill. But guess what? I'm a roach who does not have a job. The only job that I have is to come and go whenever I choose and please. And not only in their apartment, I roam to other apartments and eat up. That's a user. That's what many of these roaches are. They're users. These roaches are users. They users and they know they users. Because to be a roach and go from one place to another person's place just to eat a good meal and possibly hide out and sleep and then come out at night and roam to somebody else's house and roam to somebody else's apartment and do the same thing is to understand and know that you're a user. Dear roaches, I'm calling you out. I am calling out these roaches for what they are. And I think the next time I see a roach fly past me, I'm going to tell this roach, him or her to her face, you are in fact a user. Because you just left somebody else's place knowing that you had a full plate, you had a full meal, and you took it upon your time to run over here to find some snacks, some gummy bears, some gummy worms, whatever. That's a user. Roaches are users, dear God in the universe, they're users. But yeah, this experience has been a very interesting one. Roaches. Has there ever been a cartoon about roaches? I'm trying to remember. Anywhere on the Disney Channel, Family Channel, Family TV, whatever. Has there ever been a cartoon about roaches? That would be so cool to actually. I think there has been one about ants and ant farms, but that would be so cool to actually put together a self-made cartoon about roaches where they got their own personality. If you made a cartoon yourself and they had their own personality, right? And they're talking amongst each other and they're fighting about different stuff that regular human stuff fight about, like bills and all that other stuff. That would be so cool. You can't tell me that's not cool. See, to have a weird mind is to take it beyond its current situation, which is here in today of speaking on these roaches and their colony of colonies. Yeah, roaches. To have a cartoon that you made that's self-made, to have a cartoon like that is to have where roaches actually have like a dump truck or something, or a pickup truck. Yeah, seeming they like to steal food from house to house. That would be so cool for the cartoon to have roaches driving in pickup trucks. And everything they done stole is in the back of the pickup truck. Think creatively. I have a very creative mind. I come up with all type of stuff. But yeah, I'm about to end this video because it's 51, 32, 33, 34, 35. Life with roaches. That could be the name of the cartoon, Life with Roaches. Or no, Life with Roro. That's even more interesting. Life with Roro. And the main character is an actual roach by the name of Roro. Or Life with the Roachettes. That's a whole bunch of roaches. Family. Who else? Extended family. All the roaches that moved everybody in. That's all I'm saying. So, tell me about your roach. What kind have you met? What kind has actually threw you out the front door or made you run and jump out the front door? Who knows? It will be interesting if people of all kinds and nationalities will make videos of their first experience of being around roaches, and they actually show their reaction of them not knowing it's there until they look, till they open their eyes wide enough to look and see, and somebody taped that. That's interesting. It is. But yeah, roach and his host.